Good morning, Unity of Payson. I'm delighted that you're with us here this morning. It's a beautiful day in Payson, and for those of you in other locales, we're trusting that the day is beautiful for you, if not in terms of sunshine, at least in terms of the joy that's there within, which we are learning to access all of the time. I'm Reverend Neil Worthington. And would you just take a moment now as we begin our time together to join with me in a moment of prayer. God of all goodness, we come together this morning with grateful hearts. In the divine is our genesis, our enduring vitality, and our many-faceted expression of our divinity, as well as our humanity. We give ourselves to this day, this moment. We echo the words of the late and eternal Thich Nhat Hanh. With mindfulness, you can establish yourself in the present in order to touch the wonders of life that are available in that moment. Proceeding from this moment, with gratitude, we celebrate life's wonders, great and small. We are especially grateful for each one who has joined us today, and so it is. Amen.
And so it is. Good morning, Unity of Payson. So we're glad to see everybody here this morning. And if you happen to be with us virtually and are new, please leave your email in the chat box so that we can connect with you and let you know of all the activities that we have going on here. And we invite everyone to stay at the end of service so that Reverend Neil can greet everybody personally. And so again, we warmly welcome you. And from Unity of Payson, let's say our welcome together. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And we have an opening song because we do have Phyllis and Sherry with us this morning. And it is I Am Free, I Am Unlimited. And Phyllis, you will need to unmute, please. Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis and Sherry. And we're grateful that they are with us this morning, offering up their talents to Unity of Payson. And so we're also grateful for all the events that we had going on this week, which included, of course, our weekday morning cafe. And we had the Course in Miracles and Teresa's Qigong Tai Chi classes. And we're also thankful for the technology that allows us to continue to meet with you in this way while we're continuing to be safe, being as our COVID numbers here in Payson are still elevated. So we're grateful for all of that. Unity is grounded in affirmative prayer and in meditation, and we do have trained prayer chaplains to pray with you. And if you have a prayer request, you can email that request to Reverend Neil at, as you see it on the screen, neil.unityofpayson@gmail.com. We will hold it in sacred and confidential prayer for 30 days, and then it gets sent on to Silent Unity, where it is held in prayer for another 30 days. So please don't hesitate to ask for prayer support during difficult times that we all seem to be walking through right now. And so our theme that we are continuing with for January is newness of life. I open myself to change, follow the direction of spirit, and experience life anew. And today's speaker is Reverend Christina Garza from Unity of Nashville. And her talk title is Experiencing God in the Mundane. Reverend Christina Garza is the senior minister of Unity of Nashville. She has been a Unity Truth New Thought student for 15 years. She was licensed in 2018 and ordained in 2019. Reverend Christina is passionate about the Unity message of affirmative prayer and inherent divinity, and wants to share it with the world. Her personal ministry focuses on spiritual liberation and engaging diverse communities. You can see her full bio by going to unityofnashville.org, our minister. And today's metaphysical moment. Truth transcends our physical experience of life and our world. Please join with me as we consider this expression of truth. And so I chose to read the daily word today. And it is, pray for others. I am praying with you. Just hearing the words, I am praying with you, helps me relax into the calm strength of a trusted friend's faith. Reassured, I feel my own faith growing stronger. My friend may be next to me or calling from far away. The power of prayer is undiminished by distance. Grateful for the gifts of others praying with me, I welcome every opportunity to pray with anyone who asks. Having heard the prayer need, I let go of concern. In faith, I behold the Christ presence within the one for whom I pray. Knowing the truth of another's wholeness, I release any thought of illness. I affirm divine wisdom, guiding important decisions, and divine strength relieving any weaknesses. I feel the warmth of God's love, bringing peace and restoring hope to those I hold in prayer. And from Thessalonians, we always give thanks to God for all of you and mention you in our prayers. And you know, I think when we have a close community like we do here at Unity of Payson, sometimes we don't realize that just making a call to a friend can have the effect of being a prayer, of lifting them up, of seeing them in a more calm, peaceful, in the wholeness of their spirit. And as a chaplain, when someone comes and asks the chaplains here, I have a broken leg. I need to have you pray for my broken leg. Well, as a chaplain, you don't pray for a broken leg. You affirm that person's inherent wellness, their wholeness. You see them already completely healed. And that is the power, I think, when we reach out to friends, and maybe one of your friends is having a difficult time, and you lift them up, you hold them. And so I think that's the real gift, and especially in our smaller community, that we reach out to people and that we all have the courage to ask for that support when we need it ourselves. And so that is a real blessing, to acknowledge when we need the support. And so thank you so very much. And now we have our message.
Betty, if I may break in, I'd like to introduce Christina.
Absolutely.
Because she's a longtime friend. Well, it seems like a long time. Anyway, both Donna and I had the privilege of meeting Christina, was it 2016, was it, or something like that? When we began to study at Unity Village for the very first time. It was a wonderful little class we had there working together. And Christina was the spark plug in that class. I remember some of the presentations, and Day of the Dead, I remember something like that. You did a presentation that was really wonderfully spiritual and very exciting. So without a whole lot of other information, because Betty has let you know a little bit of her bio, and Christine will probably fill us in a little bit on herself. And I am just delighted that Christina, who is just getting out of another service, has jumped into ours so that we can hear from her. Christina, you go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Reverend Neil. And I'm so excited to be sharing with you all here this morning. I wish I was in Arizona right now because the weather's pretty chilly here in Nashville. So I don't know if at some point, yeah, you could read my bio. I'm the senior minister here at Unity of Nashville. I just started 3 months ago, born and raised in Chicago. And so I had the pleasure and the privilege of meeting Neil, as he mentioned, some years ago. So I'm really just happy to be here and share with you all. And so part of what I want to do today is explore this question of living everyday wonder. So, I was really sad to hear that Unity decided not to have yearly themes. I was one of the people that loved yearly themes. And so, lo and behold, the Center for Spiritual Living decided to have a theme this year, and it was exactly that, living everyday wonder. And for me, it was so perfect because I don't know if there are any of you that have a blues, a post-holiday blues. I love the lights and the twinkle and the hustle and bustle and how people are nice and kind and generous in more ways than usual, and just all that excitement of being with friends and family and the activities. And so I always sort of feel that bummer feeling after when it's over. And I started to think, like, how do we kind of capture and keep that magic going? And really the magic is around the wonder, the story of Jesus's birth and all that we think about, even Santa Claus and all the cultural things. It's all about this wonder and this curiosity that we have about what's happening in the world around us. So that's part of what I kind of wanted to do for this chat here with us today, is really explore this question of curiosity, but more specifically, the idea of holy curiosity. So, Albert Einstein in the 40s coined that term. And for him, it was the idea of having this freedom of inquiry that he considered necessary to science education. And so Einstein described it really as coming to truth with a spirit of humility and an open mindedness in the search for truth, and really this idea of transcendental wonder. So today I want to kind of take that and play with it a little bit and talk about how we can be that wondrous presence and how we connect more to our curious selves. I recently was just installed officially as the minister last week, and it was just an exciting time to go through all of that. And I had 17 family members and friends that were here. And there's very few times in life, I think, that we allow ourselves to really feel that magic and the awe of things that are happening. And so for me, it was one of those moments where I actually have my heart cracked wide open and be so excited and have everyone there, and made the trek from Chicago to be with me. And it's in those moments where you can see life more clearly. You can see all the mundane things and how magical they are. I stood on the platform last Sunday, and I could see out from the platform all the snow falling because it was snowing last week in Nashville, which put a little bit of a damper on the installation at some level, but it was exactly perfect the way it was. And it was this moment of like I was in a Hallmark movie just watching the snow fall as I was engaging in this beautiful ceremony. And so we have those all the time, but we don't always open ourselves up to them. We don't always have the capacity. We have the capacity, but we don't have the recognition, the mindfulness to capture them. One of the other things that really made me think about this past week was my friends are in the process of adopting a baby, and she's 3 months old. So those of you who have children or grandchildren, or if you can remember what it's like to be around children, you'll know that it's amazing to watch them experience the world. I mean, she's 3 months, but you can see her just looking and integrating and trying to understand what's happening, and the joy that she has, when she's engaging in the world. It's really inspiring. So it made me think about, how is it and where in our lives is it that we stop asking why, that we stop questioning, that we stop being curious. And so I went on a trek about this past week, and I found that, a recent study, researchers found that children ask a staggering amount of questions, 70 to 100 questions a day. Can you imagine that? Does anyone have kids in their life that says, yeah, I know 100 questions? They do it all the time, right? But so many questions that they're asking, and the same study, mentioned the kind of top 10 list. And here's just a couple that we're probably familiar with. Like, why do people die? Is Santa Claus real? Why is the sky blue? Why do I have to go to school? And our personal favorite, I'm sure of everyone, where do babies come from? But all these questions, though, they come to children. It just reminds us what they're doing. They're wanting to learn, understand more about the world around them, imagine things, imagine what is possible. That curiosity that they have, that they innately have, that we innately have, sparks that creativity and the willingness to continue to ask questions that expand our consciousness and thus our world. It's interesting that that same study found that adults ask only 20 questions a day, an average of 20 questions. And they tend to be really closed and limited, like yes or no type questions. They're not these big, wondrous, momentous questions that children ask to kind of leave you with your mouth gaped open. They're questions that adults ask like, where's the Zoom link? That was me this morning. What do you want for dinner? Or, where's the charger? Those kinds of things. So I invite you all today to begin thinking about when and how did we lose our sense of wonder? I remember my mom growing up always telling me, my mother and grandmother, when I would ask questions, they would always say, curiosity killed the cat. And I'd say, what does that even mean? We don't even have a cat. I didn't even understand what that meant. But I think there's a way in which we have been trained to not ask questions. And that's come down from generations for many different reasons. But the questions we're usually told, you don't need to know why, or you'll find out when you're older and you never find out, or you go through so many traumas and dramas trying to figure out the answers to some of these questions. But sometimes we do this as adults to children because maybe we have the feeling that we need to be confident, that we need to be secure, that we need to know. But in the process, we've taught ourselves and we teach other children that you don't ask why, that we just become obedient, that we just become obedient to the world and power structures. I mean, many of us know that that was probably the experience that many folks had in religious institutions. You didn't ask why. Maybe those of you who grew up in church asked questions when you were little to your parents or your religious leaders, and they would usually blow off the question or kind of give you this roundabout, open-ended, who's on first question, answer rather, that you never really understood. You were never fulfilled. But that's the beauty of when we remember and resurrect that part of ourselves that we always asked. There was that part of that innate curiosity that came from divine wisdom that would tell us something's not right about this story. I'm not being told the whole story. What else do I need to know here? And so we have to become curious and challenge this idea. Many of us don't even realize that. I was doing research for this talk, and I was so blown away when you Google it. I challenge you to Google it. When you Google kind of curiosity and spirituality or curiosity in the Bible, most of the articles you will find talk about how curiosity is a sin. And that blew me away, and yet it didn't, because it reinforced this idea of where we get this idea, where we stop having this wonder and this awe and this magic about life. If we think about, for example, Jesus's trajectory, or what we think we know about Jesus, it was completely polar opposite to what religious institutions teach about curiosity. And if we look at what Jesus taught about Jesus and children, that'll become even clearer. And Jesus talking about children is seen in three, the synoptic gospels, both in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. But I'm just going to highlight Mark right now. So it's in Matthew 18 and Luke 18, but today I'll talk about Mark 10, verses 13 to 16. And it said that this is what happened. People were bringing little children to Jesus for him to place his hands on them, but the disciples rebuked them. When Jesus saw this, he was indignant. He said to them, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Truly I tell you, anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a little child will never enter it." And he took the children in his arms, placed his hands on them, and blessed them. There's something so important that we're being told here about being childlike and understanding, feeling into, being the presence, right? What does a child symbolize? It symbolizes humanity. They symbolize humanity, humility and humanity, teachableness, eagerness, and interest to learn, and of course, great curiosity. But it's not just in the passage, if we really think about what we're told about Jesus and his ministry, that we see that Jesus was all about the curious. He asked the questions. He challenged the status quo. He engaged people to think. Don't just believe what I'm telling you. Think about these things. What were the parables? Kind of these riddles, right? But their riddles were purposeful to be able to engage people to use their own mind, to come to truth in the way that their innate spirit, their inner calling was wanting to resonate with that mystery and that wonder. All of this is so important, when we move into this new era of life, of whatever, virtual life, post pandemic, new church, however we want to think about it. I think the business realm has a little bit of a up on us in church life at some level. If you look at any kind of magazine, Fortune, Inc., all of these, they're always talking about curiosity. I mean, after all, what is Silicon Valley? The idea of being curious about doing things in a different way. Now, we're not going to talk about kind of the bigger issues around that, but the idea of curiosity. I was reading recently, and I was so tickled by this. Did you all know that the instant camera, the Polaroid instant camera, was actually founded by the question of a 3-year-old? Inventor Edwin Land's daughter was impatient to see a photo her father had just snapped. And when he explained that that film had to be processed, she wondered aloud, like, Daddy, why do I have to wait for the picture? And he took that to heart. And there you have the creation of the Polaroid picture. That's just one of many examples of how we become curious about how we accept the world, that things change, things open up. Our world is manifested in a different way. If we look even like love Disney Pixar films, and I was reading about Disney Pixar and how they bring in their employees and they train them, they open them up to be able to be curious. When you think about animation, that's already kind of like, wow, this is amazing, this is wondrous. It's like a childlike thing. But most of their employees they find come in thinking that, well, Disney has a winning formula. They know how to do these things. I'm going to just come in and figure this out. But they train their employees to really think beyond what they know and to push them to be able to be more curious and bring in new ideas and curiosities. It's the question of the curiosity that we bring that I want to highlight, though. As curiosity can be wonderful. It's the holy curiosity that I really want to highlight today. Because sometimes many of us have experienced curiosity in a negative realm, where somebody may be asking the questions or asking the why or posing the challenges out of spite or anger or fear or critique or ego. Maybe that's been us too, where we want to be right. And so we're raising the questions, we're creating the challenges. But what we're talking about here is the holy curiosity that's coming from the spirit of understanding and respect and communication and compassion and deep listening. The holy curiosity is really premised on the idea of love, of freedom, of healing, of God's wisdom within. So today I want to practice that a little bit. We are a practical Christianity or group that loves to get down to the nuts and bolts, right? That's one of the beauties that I appreciate about unity is what do we do? How do we do this? And so what I'd like to do is do a little meditation with you all as part of this experience so that we can play with this idea of wonder. So are we ready? Ready to do this? So I'm going to invite you all just to take a few beautiful, deep cleansing breaths. And just allow your lungs to fill up. Allow yourself to relax into this moment. Allow your body to tell you what it needs to be fully present here. Maybe you need to wiggle your fingers and toes or shrug your shoulders or do some light, gentle neck rolls. Whatever you're called to do in this moment, to allow yourself to just be freer, to give and to receive here. Just breathe that in and set this intention here together that we're expanding this space for holy curiosity. Wondrous, magical, beautiful. A flower, a sneeze, a smartphone, a stop sign, a cup of coffee, a friend, a gesture, a breath. We are constantly surrounded by and immersed in awe-inspiring beauty, creativity, harmony, joy, love, and possibility. The universe is abundant and resplendent. There are no limits to the magnificence of the wonder Spirit created. Each person, each flower, each stone, each animal, each drop of water is a necessary and glorious part of the whole that is the divine. So take this moment right now to orient yourself to wonder, to expand wonder, to download wonder, to allow wonder to emerge from within. How did you experience curiosity as a child? How and when did you lose that curiosity or aspects of it? And how is Spirit inviting you today to mightily, boldly, purposefully call in that beautiful curiosity, to reclaim it within your body, mind, and spirit here today? So let's take a few moments in the silence as we just allow for that to really download and expand in every cell, every fiber of our being. Curiosity is where the magic happens. Curiosity reveals the extraordinary inherent in the ordinary. It is the truest essence of the ordinary that is extraordinary. You are extraordinary. And so it is, and so we let it be. I invite you to take a few deep cleansing breaths again and come back, open your eyes. And I remind you, truly I tell you, anyone will not receive the kingdom of God unless you can receive it like a child. It will not open unless you receive it like a child. So today we open up that space for wonder, for awe, for curiosity. And as we do that, we have additional childlike qualities that come in that aid us on this spiritual journey. I'm just going to share a few with you, and I want you, as I close today, just to see what resonates with your soul here today. What resonates for you as places in your life where you can and need to inhabit these childlike qualities that are opened up by curiosity that you need in your adult life. Maybe it's trust or playfulness and humor. Maybe it's just the willingness to learn and grow. Maybe it's openness about your emotions and feelings. Maybe it's creativity and imagination like a child. Joy, joy like a child, laughing and screaming and playing on the playground. Maybe it's eternal hope. Maybe it's easy forgiveness. Maybe it's undying love. How about boundless exuberance and energy, that zeal that we can sizzle with? And finally, always thinking the best about life and about other people. So today, as I close, I just ask that we think about curiosity and allow it to expand in our spiritual lives and see the blessings that come from that mighty, mighty ability. Thank you for having me here today. Love and blessings to each and every one of you.
Wow, Reverend Garza, thank you so much for such a joyful message this morning. And your essence, your energy just comes through. Thank you so much for blessing us with your talk this morning. And now we have a meditation song from Phyllis. Breathe in me, breath of God.
Until my heart is pure, until with thee I will to do, to endure. Breathe in me, breath of God, till I am wholly thine. Till all this earthly part of me goes with thy fire divine. Breathe in me, breath of God, so shall I never die, but live with thee the perfect life of thine eternity.
Thank you, Phyllis and Sherry. And now is time for our gifts and our offerings. You know, we really appreciate all of the gifts that you give. They not only support our Unity of Payson community, but we tithe out to the larger community. And so it does spread, and it behooves us all to charge up those gifts with the energy of love and compassion and giving. And from our message, the joy and the curiosity of a child. And so on your screen there are the instructions for how to donate. And we will be playing an offering song here in a moment, and there'll be plenty of time for you to go to the screen and do that, or you can do it after service also. And so let's bring our attention to our gifts. Hold it in your hand, intend it in your hand, and call to mind your very deepest heart's desire. And let's charge it up with that as we say our affirmation. Freely we give, and freely we receive. And the offering song, also by Phyllis, I have decided to be my God self.
Phyllis, if you would unmute, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes.
This song is from an old traditional song by way of an Indian melody way back. And it was adapted by a unity minister, as I have decided to be my God self. I was caused to ask myself, what do I mean by my God self? I had thought of it before, but I wanted to explore and give it a little more meaning. So I was reading Joel Goldsmith. It seems I'm too loud, but I'm going to adjust. I was reading in Joel Goldsmith and thinking of my God self and what I mean by it. And he referenced some scripture, paraphrased, I live yet not I, the Christ lives within me. And I thought that makes a good verse to go along with. I have decided to be my God self. 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 No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to be my God self. I've got a modulation I didn't make. I have decided to be my God self. I have decided to be my God self. I have decided to be my God self. No turning back, no turning back. I live yet not I, Christ lives within me. I live yet not I, Christ lives within me. I live yet not I, Christ lives within me. And so it is. I let it be. I live yet not I, Christ lives within me. I live yet not I, Christ lives within me. I live yet not I, Christ lives within me. And so it is. I let it be.
Thank you, Phyllis. What a lovely adaptation. And so now it is time for the dedication of the offering. You know, we are very grateful for these gifts and for the abundance that they represent. And we bless them, we bless the givers as they go out into the community. And so together, let's say our dedication. Divine love through us blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous and we give thanks. We give thanks every day. And so on to announcements. And so next Sunday, we continue on with our theme, Newness of Life. I open myself to change, follow the direction of spirit, and experience life anew. And so we will be having a few announcements, but always do check your Monday email or go to the website, unityofpayson.org, to see everything that is going on. And all of our meetings right now are on Zoom, and they are by love offering. And so because we have 5 Sundays this month, the members of our own Unity of Payson will be speaking about what's new at Unity of Payson. And right now, I know that Tom Quirk, your board president, and myself, board secretary, we will be speaking. I'm not sure who else will be, but. And on to Morning Cafe, which is Monday through Saturday, every morning at 9:30. And like it says, do come and connect with Unity of Payson family. We usually have an inspirational reading, which sometimes we discuss and sometimes we go off topic and just have joy in the morning. And next, thanks to our lovely Teresa, we have Qigong and Tai Chi moving meditation twice a week now, Sundays and Wednesdays, 4:30 to 5:10. Please be right on time so that you can start. It is a practice that involves deep breathing, gentle stretch, visualization, and balance work to calm the mind and energize the body and spirit. And wouldn't that be a wonderful lead-in to then do a meditation afterwards? You would be all prepared for that. And so again, it's a Zoom meeting at our normal Zoom address there that you see on the bottom. And next we have Highway Cleanup, which will be on January 27th at 8 a.m. on 4th Thursdays. So that happens to be January 27th.
Betty, change of time, 4 p.m. because of the season.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you. That was in the notes here wrong. At 4 o'clock, because it's kind of chilly at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's probably still frost on the ground. Anyway, meet in front of Big Lots for that one. And now a PS from Neil.
Well, I am really excited about all of the new things that are happening at Unity of Payson. So don't miss next Sunday. You will want to be here to see. And there are multiple things beyond what Betty mentioned. We'll leave it a mystery for you, but please come. Also pay attention to that, as Betty said, that newsletter that comes out every Monday. And once in a while, you might want to go and look at our website. One other thing you might want to do is to like Unity of Payson on Facebook or encourage your friends to do so. Invite them to like us as well. We think we've got some exciting stuff to share, and we'd like to do that with those who are prepared and ready to be a part of it. So exciting new stuff happening at Unity of Payson. And I am so grateful for all of the people that put the energy in to make it happen. And so get in on whatever you can. There's a lot of good stuff. So we'll move now to the closing of our service, and that'll be the peace song. Phyllis will play that for us, and we'll sing it. We won't hear each other so much, but we will enjoy the peace song and then the prayer for protection.
To
The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. If you are, Tom, if you can drop any spotlights we have, we will, you can go to your view and go to gallery so you can see everybody that's here. And I'd like to take an opportunity to welcome everyone. I'm going to start with my friend Christina Garza, Reverend Christina Garza. It is such a delight to have your energy in the room. And I am so glad you're here with us today. Phyllis, Sherry, Mike, and I know Jeff is helping there. There are about 4 of you there listening on that in that room. And thank you so much for your music. Kay Adams, one of our key people. She's involved with some of the new stuff at Unity of Payson as well. Kathy Hicken. Oh, Kathy, you are so supportive. I want to talk to you more about organic gardening. Ed is the leader of our Harmony Hikers. And if you haven't gotten in on that group and you'd like to, get a hold of Ed or get a hold of me and I'll get a hold of Ed and you can be part of Harmony Hikers. Betty Daly, wonderful job on platform as always. My dear and beautiful wife, Donna Steckel, also a friend of Christina's. Kay Butler from Alabama is here with us. Joy is here from Colorado. Frosty from Mesa. Of course, Claudette. Claudette is the 3 minutes before person. She's always here 3 minutes before whatever happening, and she's there at almost everything that's happening at Unity of Payson. Marianne Gardner, our dear beloved Marianne, what will we do without her? Terry, our administrative assistant, who does so many things to keep us going and keep us straight. Teresa, as Betty told you, doing the Qigong, but many other things. We're